Johnson, man. I appreciate coming out and doing this with me. Thank you so much, man. This is it's been a great journey for me so far, and I'm really happy that you came here to be guest number one. I don't know how this whole thing is going to go, but you know, we're here to have a good time and just enjoy a conversation. And no matter what happens, you're always going to be guest number one, man. So I thank you, and I really appreciate you being here. This means a lot to me. It really does.
Hey, I appreciate it. Hey, the pleasure's all mine. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Dominic is how old now?
Shoo, he's a year and a half.
Year and a half old, man.
Yeah.
Again, congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank
This
you.
is your first child, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I should know that already. What has it been like raising a child the first time? This is your first one compared to what people have been telling you, especially family.
Oh man, it's like you won't know what you're getting yourself into until you dive right in. It's just like people tell you so many different things, and of course, I'm just doing the best I can to take it all in. But you don't really know what you get yourself into until you really have it. Until you have your own kid, and I have to say, it's an amazing feeling.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest lesson you've learned in 18 months of being a dad?
Patience.
No shit. That simple, huh?
Yeah, that's simple. Just patience. I don't take, anything for granted. Especially with everything that's been going on.
Absolutely, man. And on top of that, with the pandemic being here and we've all been stuck inside, how has that been? Not only are you a first-time dad, but first-time dad, and hey, you're both at home now. How do we adjust to this?
Yeah, it was definitely difficult. Just like parks were closed, recreational parks, theme parks. For Dominic's first birthday, it was only me, my wife, and him for his first birthday. And that was really hard, it's just we couldn't rent anything out. We couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. But, overall, we made it work. And we're promised to make it up to him when things get better.
That's so awesome, man. Do you think he's understanding that, even though he's only a year and a half old?
I don't think he's gotten to that point yet. But for a kid who's only a year and a half, he amazes me every day. He's really smart.
That's so awesome, man. Again, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What do you think you can, when he gets of age, I'm assuming he'll probably still be living in the same area. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned growing up in this area about what you want to get him ready for? Because it's a different world, man. I mean, what me and you grew up with, even though I grew up on a different part of the Bay Area, the things that we saw, these kids are growing up in a whole different world, and sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's exciting to see the opportunities that they actually have. But what lessons would you actually give him based upon what you've seen growing up around here?
It's definitely, I grew up in a rough neighborhood, but, my plan is for Dominic to have a better future and for him to have a better experience, growing up as a kid, have more of a childhood, something that I never had. But I guess the biggest thing that I would just tell him is just be a leader. Don't be a follower.
Wow. That's actually really important because so many times, and we've kind of seen it in different times in our jobs and in our lives, is that there does seem to be kind of less of an accountability with people. I know me and you have talked about several times about just people we've interacted with, whether we've known them together or not, where it's like, you would think common sense would say you should do this because it's just the right thing to do, and people just aren't getting it. And I don't know if it's all social media's fault, but I like to think that's probably a part in that. What do you think it's been?
Honestly, I just think it's a combination of everything. It's just parents, they're not ready to have kids, but they have kids, and they just get brushed off to the side and they get thrown into society. Just kids today, they just don't know how to act. It's just terrible. And then just seeing, especially today, what's been going on with like the hate crimes and just all that, and the robberies and during the pandemic is just, it really shows what kind of parents these kids had or have.
Or have now. Yeah, it's definitely a big thing. I mean, sometimes it's hard to see a lot of people in our a generation trying to balance it. You have both parents who are working, and then you have to raise your child or children. And sometimes when we were growing up, we just kind of assumed that what our parents did or our grandparents did, we'll just do the same thing. And then it doesn't really work out that way now. Like, everything is so expensive now. I mean, you've seen the price of the homes around here and how they just keep going up. It's like, how are you supposed to compete with that?
Oh yeah, just a condo here in the city, it's at least $1 million.
For like 600 square feet.
Pretty much.
It's crazy. I mean, people may make a joke about it nationally, but yeah, it's in San Francisco. You can get a closet for about $1 million. Go anywhere else in the country, you could buy a palace or a mansion with that.
I agree.
It's yeah. I wouldn't know the best way to tell, if I ever had a child, what to actually tell them about what they're going to be exposed to every day. Even the little things, like, have you even talked about what age he would probably get a cell phone?
Honestly, I have not had that conversation with my wife. I want to say, maybe sometime during elementary, just like not to really conversate with their friends or and all that. It's more of like an emergency kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that part makes sense, but just think about, okay, what if he gets on Instagram or Facebook? Am I okay with that? Is he going to be, do I have to teach him how to, because this is not anything that we ever had to learn. No one gave us a cell phone and said, hey, this is what you got to know left and right. It was just, we had the internet on the computer and that was about it. And even then we didn't know what we were doing.
That's true. That's very true.
I mean, there was one time in college when, you remember MySpace?
I do remember
when that
MySpace.
thing came out. When that came out, that was such a big deal. And everybody thought, we all thought that we were so cool because we had a MySpace and we could put all of our pictures and all this stuff about who we are on the internet and think we were all special and whatnot. And man, looking back on that now, that was nothing compared to this.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just blown up with just exposure. And then people don't understand, right around the time we were like 25 years old, we didn't have the iPhone. That came out, 07, 08? We still had flip phones.
Oh yeah.
We were still like, do you remember texting on those things, the little flip phones, and you were trying to read what this was? Or trying to go on the web on these flip phones and not knowing, okay, this is I don't know where I'm going with this.
Oh yeah, it's just I remember having those phones. It's like, you couldn't go on the internet. I guess depending what kind of plan you had, sometimes you couldn't even text. So the only thing you could do was make a phone call.
Do you remember going on traveling wherever, and you would have to print up the maps to go there? You would have to be able to say, okay, we're going to Maple Street and make a right turn. Where's Maple Street? I don't know. It says it's that way. And now all you do is plug your phone in and it tells you everything.
Oh yeah, I remember printing out the directions and getting from point A to point B.
Like, dude, that was actually, it sounds bad, but that was actually fun back then. To make a journey out of just simply going from point A to point B or going on a road trip and just going with the flow and say, we're going here. I don't know. It kind of, sometimes these phones take a lot of the fun away from that.
It's true. It's true. The kids today, they don't run and ride bikes, play tag, and get hurt. They just stay at home and they're just stuck on their cell phones now.
Crazy. What was an exciting story when you were a kid, when you were about 15 years old, that you remember about just doing something crazy that no one can do anymore or no one does anymore?
Well, I guess it's just that, it's just like when I was 15, we all had our little BMX bike or little mongoose, it's just, we would just meet up, just ride around the city, and that's just all we did. We didn't get in any trouble. We just...
Did you have the pegs?
Oh yeah.
Remember the pegs? Did you have front and back?
Oh yeah.
Man, how many horror stories happen with that? Just falling off of somebody's bike because you didn't know what you were doing. You're just like, stand there, hold on to my shoulders. Okay, where are we going? I don't know. We're just going to go and whatever happens, happens. Man, there was one time when I was, how old was I? I think I was 14 or 15. Do you remember Niles Canyon? Well, it's out there in Fremont.
I don't think I've ever been there.
So part of that area over there, it's like a raging river or a rapid, small river, depending on the time of the year. We used to go over there and just jump in there randomly and swim, and we had no idea what we were doing. We thought it was fun. And it's like, now that I think about it, might not have been such a good idea to do that back then. And like, yeah, because all the stories that you see on TV now, it's like, oh, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have done that. But we were like, whatever, 14 or 15 years old. We were young and dumb, and we thought it was fun. And it was fun. And I mean, we got scared a couple of times, but you're like, you just go with it.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that. I didn't learn how to swim till my last semester of college, so yeah, there was no way I could have put that off.
What was your sport?
Sport? Well, I've always played it recreationally, ever since elementary. Well, I guess elementary, everybody played kickball, right?
Yeah. Ooh, dodgeball.
Oh, yes.
Remember that?
Dodgeball. Dodgeball was big in elementary and in middle school for sure.
Did you ever get too rough with it?
Unfortunately,
yeah. That guy got me out, so I'm okay. You're it, man.
Yeah, but the main sports that I did play, it was just basketball and football. And I think in high school, I did join JV, but I had to quit to work 2 jobs. But, that's a different story.
Yeah. Even just thinking back on about all those things that we just talked about here, it's like, kind of makes you want to say, how can I make sure that the next generation coming up can experience what we did?
Exactly.
And it's like, do you think that they can? Like, what would you think Dominic's experience would be?
I think I'm going to try my hardest, just pretty much just allow him to just be him, just be whoever he wants to be. It's just like, I don't want to put any limitations on him, like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's just, it's like, whatever you want to do, mom and dad will support you, kind of thing, But of course, it's got to be something that we got to agree upon. Like, you can't, like, oh, yeah, mom, dad, I'm going to be a mud gigolo.
I mean, we don't know what this world's going to be like in 10, 15 years. And
that's true.
Ooh, what if you said tackle football?
I think I'd be okay with that.
You good with that?
But then,
how about the wifey?
I think the wife would be okay with that too. But at the same time, it's just, it's just we don't know the long-term effect of, like, them getting tackled, them getting hit, and brain damage, just all that. But,
That's real, man, yeah.
Yeah. And just even in contact sport, even if Dominic wants to be, I don't know, an MMA fighter, I think me and the wife would support him. But at the same time, once again, what's going to be the long-term effect?
Yeah. Dude, there's so much that we know now that we didn't know when we were kids.
Exactly.
Remember going to McDonald's when we were kids, and you'd go to the counter, and behind the counter, all the burgers were already lined up? Do you remember that?
I do.
Like, give me 2 cheeseburgers, and they would just go behind. Okay, they've been pre-made. Who knows how long they've been sitting there for, and we just accepted it what it is.
Yep.
And now that we get older, we're like, what were we thinking back then? Like, was that okay? Like, just all these little things that actually changed up around us. I was at a park in one of the cities on the peninsula not too long ago, and they were doing this mini camp for young kids, trying to teach them to play, like, not contact sports, but team sports. These are like 12, 14-year-old kids, and they've been cooped up inside the house, especially this past year with the pandemic. So the organizers of this event were really trying to get people out there, get the kids out there, get some fresh air, run around, and learn what it takes to actually be part of a team and interact with each other. They had a guest one day, and it was somebody that got drafted in the NFL in the past draft, but he's a local kid. And it was inspiring because he came out there to talk to the kids about teamwork, where he came from, where he's at now, and just the opportunities that are available to young people now that, we just didn't really think about back then. No. But now it's like, you really put the work in, and, and you're willing to sacrifice a lot of fun times, especially in your teens and 20s. Like there's just no telling where you can actually go now.
It's true.
So it was what's funny, he was talking to them about NFL football and tackle football, and there was a parent over there asking about contact sports, like, should we be tackling? Should we not be? What should we do? And I could tell he was trying to toe that line of how do I answer this correctly or whatnot. And he basically told her, it worked for me. I had to get that push. There was a coach that I had that really pushed my limits, and I needed that because I was undersized or I wasn't the best skilled at this. I had to learn how to take a hit. Otherwise, I would have just been getting demolished on the field. But, to be able to still make that sacrifice is hard.
Oh, yeah.
Like, did you hear about in the military about that stress card they were having for a while?
I'm not sure.
So what it was is when you go to boot camp, if I remember this right, I mean, someone will probably correct me if I'm wrong, but there was, how in boot camp, the drill instructor has to pretty much get on you to make sure that you get the job done, to make sure that you pass. And it's kind of sort of like a rite of passage. You're weeding out the weaker elements and you're making the ones who stay around stronger.
Yeah.
Like there's actually a thing where, if you feel you're being treated too harshly or you're being pushed beyond your limits, you could just tell them, hey, I've had enough, don't yell at me anymore and, go away. I mean, there's some people that say that that's a good thing. And then some people who are like, dude, that takes away what our grandfathers went through in the military. That takes away the toughness that you're supposed to be building up in the military. That takes away, what are you going to do on the battlefield? You're just going to hold up a card and say no. It's created a lot of debates, and it's like, I don't know what to believe. Is it right? Is it wrong? I mean, there is something to be said about, sort of like a rite of passage that we kind of get from our dads or our fathers about, you have to know how to survive in this world. It can be brutal out there.
It definitely can.
Do you have an example of like where you really learned that, yeah, life is not coming the way that I was told it was, and I really have to learn how to figure this out?
Honestly, growing up, I've always envied some of my friends. Some of my other friends, they were in the same situation as me, where they either didn't have their mother around or their father around. But in my case, I had both parents around. But then, I just felt like their priorities were different from other culture and from other parents. It was more, I guess it's an Asian thing where reputation is more important than your kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the first time that I've heard that. Do you think it's rooted in like a good thing, or it's something that, hey, we did that back 200 years ago and it's time to change with this?
I honestly don't know how far back it goes, but then it's just it seems to be a very common thing in my culture, But so that's one thing that I'm trying to break, right now. It's just that my family, my kids, they're my first priority. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And we live in an area where it's a much higher percentage of Asian population than some parts of the rest of the country. So I think I can say that both me and you have seen a lot of that from different cultures: Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Cambodian, Laotian. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of those cultures over here. And, even in talking to some of our friends, we feel the pressure sometimes where like, am I supposed to be up here? But, can I get there? Maybe my path is somewhere else.
Yeah.
Do my parents understand that? It's been something that I've talked to some of my other friends about, expectations, where you're supposed to be at a certain point in your life. And, maybe back in the day it was, yeah, by 25, you're supposed to be married with 2 kids and have a home, and you have a 30-year career or a job where you can spend the next 30 years in. And it's like, it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't always work out that way as much as we want it to.
Yeah. Do you wish it did?
I mean, in a perfect world, yeah, sure. In a perfect world, yeah, I would like to I would like to have been married by 25, have kids before I'm 30, but these are the cards that I'm dealt, that I was dealt, but yeah, it's like I said, it's after everything that's been going on, or everything that happened in 2020, I don't take life for granted. Like, I'm grateful that I have a wife, who's pretty much just loving, caring, and just honest, just all of the above. And and I may have had our first kid, in our mid 30s, but I'm just glad that he just came out healthy, and we get to see this little guy grow up, and honestly, it's my wife and my son. They're the two best things that ever happened to me.
Age is nothing but a number, man. I mean, we're living a lot longer than our parents ever did.
That's true.
Like, we know the importance of taking care of ourselves and eating right and kind of reducing the stress that we may have seen our parents have, that we know we can get around. I'm actually excited. It's kind of weird that it used to be you would retire at like 50. Now it's like, you had to work a lot longer than that, but so many people are going to be in a position where they can. They're going to be physically healthy.
That's true.
65, in 15 years or so is going to be like 45, 10 or 15 years ago. Like, just because we prolong things longer than maybe our parents' generation, it doesn't mean anything. It's like we're still enjoying it. You still have your baby boy, maybe another one soon,
Yeah.
That's an exciting thing.
Yeah, we're actually working on number 2 right now, so wish us luck.
That is so awesome. Yeah, honestly, I wish you the best on that one.
Yeah, thank you.
It's funny that you mentioned that 2020 was a really challenging year, because you faced a challenge that very few people have ever faced, and you've come out of it a lot stronger. And it's something that I've never actually told you this, but I respected you and I really admire you a lot for the things that you went through and how you were able to handle it. I know a lot of people who, if they were in your same situation, would have been running for the hills. They would have said the world's over. They would have done a lot of irrational things, but you kept your cool through that, and you've gone through it, and you've come through very much unscathed in that. But still, for those that don't know you, you're a survivor of brain cancer, and I mean, that's just been, it's been something that, even from us on the side, me and my wife, watching you guys go through it and not understanding what you're going through every day. And we can just only imagine, to see you come out of it the way you did. It's been very inspiring. But how did this whole thing come up? Because it's not something that you can just look on your arm and say, oh, there's something wrong here. What do I do about it? How did that whole thing even come to light?
Well, about 5 years ago, I started to have diminished hearing in my left ear. And, I went to the doctors several times and saw 2-3 different specialists, and they've all misdiagnosed me. They just said it's allergy. It was due to allergies, that, inflammation was, they saw even through the CAT scan that inflammation went from the nasal passageway to the ear canal. That, that's what was causing the diminished hearing, with the, just me having diminished hearing. And so, they prescribed me anti-inflammatory, allergy meds. And, luckily it went away just in time for my wedding.
Wow, was that close?
Yes. So it came back. So my hearing came back just in time for the wedding. And I want to say a week or 2 after the wedding, bam, it felt like, it sounded like I had water in my ear again. So then, went back to the specialist. They prescribed me more meds. And then it wasn't up until, 2020, last year. That was when I reached out to the ear, nose, and throat specialist. And I'm like, hey, nothing's working. And so I'm just like, is there surgery to be done, or is there like a transplant that you guys can do so I get my hearing back? So then, luckily, a different ear, nose, and throat specialist reached out to me because the guy that I reached out to no longer worked there. So then, so this specialist, he said, "Hey, I'm reading your file. There's something off about your case. Can you come in and see me?" So it was a really long day. Yeah. It's like I had like 2 different series of hearing tests done, and then they confirmed that I had permanent hearing loss in the left ear.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then the same specialist said, "Okay, it's very rare, very, very rare that you have a tumor in your brain, but let's rule that out. So we're gonna schedule you to get an MRI tomorrow, just to rule it out. But it's rare." I was like, "Okay, all right, sure." And mind you, I'm very claustrophobic. So
Oh
then,
man.
so then they shoved me into the MRI machine, and they pretty much covered my face with a plastic, I guess, covering. So then I had like this much room in front of my face, and then I came this close from saying, "Hey, I gotta get out of here. I'm about to have a panic attack."
Whoa, that's yeah.
Like, but he said I guess the technician said, "Okay, just close your eyes and try to control your breathing and think happy thoughts." Right.
Pretty straightforward. Shouldn't be too hard, right?
Right. Like a big tough guy like me, or someone who looks like me, is claustrophobic.
Man.
Right. But so it took about 45 to an hour, and went home, took a nap before work, and then that was when I got a call 2 hours after, and the ENT specialist said, "Hey, are you driving?" I go, "Why does he need to know why I'm driving? He has bad news for me."
Oh man.
So I told him I was at home, and then he broke the news to me, and he just, I don't know, he was just very apologetic, and then I could just by the tone of his voice that he felt for me, and so then a team of surgeons reached out to me, I want to say a couple weeks after, and then we had this game plan. I spoke with a radiologist. Of course, the radiologist said, based on the size, we can do radiation, but the radiation can irritate the tumor, and it can cause it to get inflamed, and then it's going to make surgery that much more difficult.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then the main surgeon, the main guy that was in charge, he reached out to me, and then he said, "Yeah, surgery is the way to go."
Wow. It's just man. Like what do you say to that when this is all happening literally in a matter of a couple of days from the time you get there to the MRI till you get the call, "Are you driving?" And now pretty much what you thought was just like a headache or something wrong with the ear. That's, man, how'd you process that? Did you process that?
As soon as I got the news, I told my wife, and I don't know if she processed it right away either. And then her parents were actually there with us because they're also helping babysit. So then the dad, he took it well. The mom, she kind of got teary-eyed, and then the wife, she didn't. She was like, "Oh wow, okay," kind of thing, And then for me, I needed time to process what's going on. So then I decided, just to go to work early. Yeah, even though I still had 2 hours to spare, I just sat in the parking lot. And then, I think that was when I called one of our close buddies and I told him about it.
Dude.
And then I clocked in for work.
Man. And then how long after that did they have surgery?
Whew. It only took a couple months for the surgery to happen, but my surgeon, he did say that it was a slow growing tumor. It's probably been growing for about 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah,
10
because
years.
because of the size, and he also said that the tumor that I had was called an acoustic neuroma, which is a slow growing tumor, and lucky for me, the tumor is usually benign, which means it's not cancerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I had my surgery November 5th. The surgery went well. They took everything out. I completely lost hearing in my left ear. And they went and got a biopsy after we removed all of the tumor. And they confirmed that the tumor was benign. So thank God it was not cancerous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus, man. And as a result, what was it? You were semi-paralyzed on the left side?
Yeah, so right now I have permanent hearing loss in my left ear, and I still have facial paralysis on my left side of my face. It's slowly coming back, but it's been about 6 months now. Yeah, so yeah, just trying to be patient.
I think I told you this too. Like, if you never told me that, I would have never have guessed that you were like suffering from paralysis, because I can't see it. I can't see it until you tell me to stop and look and say, watch this. And like, oh, well, now I can see it. But dude, that's to be able to go through all that, man, and to know that it had been growing for like a decade.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you were to think back, like, were there any signs?
Well, before the hearing loss, I definitely got bad migraines. Yeah. Yeah, so, just one of those things where, you can't ignore your body. Like migraines aren't always just migraines. There's underlying issues. So it's always good. It's always good to get a second opinion, third opinion. Just talk to your physician. Keep pushing it on them. It's like you're your only advocate.
Dude, yeah, migraines. That's something that we would think now, hey, just take a couple of pills and you'll be good, right? So no big deal. Especially at your age, what were you, like 21 at the time when that happened? It's like, take a couple of aspirin, call it a day.
Yeah.
Man. So if there's somebody out there listening and they've been having migraines for a while, is there anything that you can kind of tell them about what you can say 2020 hindsight? Like, this was something that, yeah, I should have saw that as the key to say, let me go get a specialist.
Well, for one, my migraines were so bad that it left me out of commission the entire day. Like, my migraines were so bad that I wouldn't be able to drive.
Wow, so that obvious or that apparent.
Yeah.
What'd you think it was? Like, were you just having, must not have gotten enough sleep the previous night, or I was working too long and that's probably what it is?
Yeah, I mean, in my profession, I do work crazy hours. Like, I would work 16, 24 hours straight without any sleep, or sometimes I would forget to drink water, or not enough water, too much caffeine. Pretty much there's times where I don't take care of myself, so I just thought that was that. But and two, I would say that it wasn't just me. It's like what I haven't told you was that a former colleague of mine, he got diagnosed with the same exact tumor.
Yeesh. Dude.
Yeah. So we worked at Crunch Fitness about 5 years ago. Yeah, so we were just like, apparently we were just two guys walking around Crunch, working out, training our clients with a tumor in our head, not even know it. Yeah, so once I heard his story, I reached out to him, and then I told him what I had gone through. And yeah, we've just been talking ever since. And he just, I've just been trying to be there with him every step of the way, because it's definitely scary stuff.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Was it all those knockoff supplements they sell? I mean, that's just to have that rare tumor from two people in the same building. I mean, man, that's just wow. How's he doing?
I mean, he's doing good. He's 39. He has 3 kids, has a wife. And this guy's healthy as a bull. And then, I know it's sad to say, but then, of course, when it comes to fitness, I kind of lost my way when I quit Crunch. But then with him, he's still a fitness fanatic. Eats healthy, drinks healthy. And then for him to get it, I'm just like, okay, so I didn't do anything wrong.
I mean, it's a way to look at it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's he's. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe he's better at hiding things than I am, because it seems like he's taking it a lot better than I ever did.
Did he already do a surgery and get through that?
His surgery is next month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he having the same issues with the ear?
Yes. Yeah, and then like for him, same thing. He started to lose hearing in his left ear, but one thing that he kept ignoring was migraines. Same thing, migraines.
Same like length of time. Like for the past decade, I would get him and just it's no big deal, right?
I mean, like we didn't really talk about how long he's been having migraines, but then his wife pretty much just posted on social media saying that he was ignoring his migraines for the longest time.
Crazy.
And that he had diminished hearing in his left ear, but he just thought that it was his kids yelling in his ear.
That happens. I got a coworker like that who has a history of migraines, and he'll just have to sit down and like, dude, it's coming up with that. We all thought it was his wife, but now I'm like, maybe you want to check that out, dude, because that's the way it keeps going. It's probably a sign you should go see somebody. Man, what does that say about Kaiser though? Do you really blame the system, the medical system?
It's really tough. It's just like my general physician, didn't catch it, and then I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier, but then I saw an allergist to see what I was allergic to, so I could stay away from from those things that would cause my body to have inflammation.
Yeah.
And then he didn't catch it. I wouldn't expect him to catch it. But the most frustrating part was my ear, nose, and throat specialist. He did not catch that, not once. So my thing is like, okay, I don't know how long doctors go to school for, 10, 12, 14, 16 years, especially if you specialize in that. You specialize in that.
Yeah.
So then you telling me that the whole time that you went to school and you did your study, you did your research, that not once you've heard an acoustic neuroma, aka vestibular schwannoma.
Man, bring it closer. There you go. Now I can hear you better.
Yeah.
And how long? You probably didn't ask him how long he's been a doctor for, but I'm like, how many times did you see him before you went to another specialist?
I saw him once, but then and then I was just trying to follow what he was pretty much what he was prescribing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it didn't work. And then partly it's my fault too. It's life happens. I let a few years go by. And then it wasn't until 2020 that was when I was just like, hey, I really would like my hearing back. I'm starting to get panic attacks here. like I'm never gonna get my hearing back.
Yeah.
Like I'm losing patience here. And then that was like I mentioned earlier, the difference. Another specialist reached out to me and then ordered an MRI.
And if was he even assigned to you, or he just happened to be taking over the cases and that actually took the time to look into your file to say, this isn't right?
Well, that one specialist, he no longer worked there. So the guy who reached out to me, think he took over that department.
And he took the time to go look in your file. And you hadn't been there for probably how many years
Yeah,
to see the specialist?
I want to say 2 years or so. I want to say, yeah, like about 2 years. And then when I reached out to the specialist that was no longer there, I guess he caught on to the email. I guess the email got forwarded to the guy who's now, currently in charge.
Wow.
Yes.
That's, man, to think that if he didn't take the time to actually look back at a file that's 2 years old and who knows how many files were in between you and when he started, man, that's just crazy. That's like fate, man. That's like, that's like, we were too young to actually see it, but it's like in the Cold War, like how close we were to someone pressing that magical nuclear button, and there was always somebody there at the right time to say, no, I'm sure that's a false alarm. It's like, we wouldn't even be here right now if someone jumped the gun. It's funny how things work that way. Like the right person at the right time to say, this doesn't sound right. Let's get you in. Let's figure this whole thing out. That's just crazy. And then, going back to what you said earlier, I did not know about that, your wedding. Like, it had been bothering you, and then for your wedding, it cleared up.
Yeah.
Just in time for you to enjoy that.
Yeah, it's just like it came back just in time for the wedding, and then a week or two after, bam, it was gone. It was like I had diminishing once again.
Man.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. I'm not a religious person, but man, there's something to be said about that. Like, just like those are just some funny coincidences that like everything had to happen just right. So it's like, yeah, this isn't your time. We're gonna get this taken care of. But to see you persevere through that has been a great thing to watch. And it's funny how you talk about taking care of your body. Like, how many years were you a personal trainer?
I want to say I was a personal trainer for a good 5 years.
Jeez, what got you into that besides just wanting to work out and probably getting free classes?
Well, my whole life, I've always struggled with weight. It's just like, I've never been one of those kids with like, who just grew up built thin. I've always struggled with weight, and I was able to drop, 20 pounds, just doing a lot of cardio, and I was doing a lot of running. And then pretty much I was just like, I really want to help others. So I just
That's
like,
big.
it's just like, even though I still don't have, at the time, I didn't have a six pack, I still hadn't met my goal yet. There's always a new goal to meet, and then my thing was, I'm not in perfect shape. I don't look like a supermodel right now. I don't look like an actor, but I want to take this time to help others because I know what it's like to feel disgusted off of your body.
Jeez. That's big to say, man. I mean, it's like define perfect. I mean, all that stuff that we see on social media, like that's just, that's like a whole nother world there. I mean, I knew somebody once who was a competitive bodybuilder, and when he would do the shows, it's like, okay, dude's taking care of himself. I mean, more props to you. Can you teach me how to do those things? Because that's pretty good. And it's like, sometimes you find out the dirty secret about what it actually takes to get that. And it's like, all right, for the average everyday person, me, you, people that we live and see every day, it's like, come on. It's like, forget about what you may be taking and just talk about like the eating. Yeah. Like, oh, that's what you have to eat every day. And if you eat like a scoopful too much, that's it. That's the end of it. And like, dude, some of these people get so upset if they don't hit those numbers. Like, I got to hit 1,512 calories. If I go 1,515, I screwed up. And you see them go on crazy fits for a couple of calories. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to put on a couple of pounds? Like, come on, really? Man, it's just, there's just, I mean, I believe in fitness and long-term well-being and actually taking care of yourself. But I mean, there's got to be a line, man. There's just no,
it's true.
I mean, 3% body fat, you're going to carry that with you the rest of your life. And what is that going to get you? Is that going to bring you happiness?
Yeah, it's like, I think for the average person, it's definitely not realistic. And I don't know. I don't think that's healthy either, especially with this competitive bodybuilding. More props to them. Great for them. But I feel like over time, it definitely takes a toll on their body, because it's just like the day where they have to compete or where they do the shows, I think they go a couple of days without drinking water. It's just so their muscles can look more defined.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's like, are you going to look like that every day? When you wake up in the morning, like, do you think your significant other gives a damn or cares if you actually, let me see, nope, you put on too much weight over it. You had one too many donuts and that's the end of it. Man, it's just, and social media doesn't actually help that. You know how just like, I don't go on it that much, rarely do. Maybe I spend less than 10 minutes a day. And that's if I'm really like looking through the posts, like what's going on today. Some of these people are like, it's their life, 8, 9, 10 hours a day. Scroll. What did this person in Kansas do? How about that girl in the Ukraine or whatever? What is she doing? It's like, good God, this isn't probably the best way you should be modeling yourself after people you've never met with expectations. You don't even know if those photos are photoshopped, to tell you the truth, which most of them, I'm gonna say most of them, but there's a lot of that out there. It's like, concentrate on the people around you. These are the people that you know, your friends, your family, the people you see every day. Do you really think anybody cares if you look a certain way, if you have the right measurements and whatnot?
Exactly.
Like, nobody cares. You will not lose a date because you're 3 pounds overweight or over your goal. Your mom's not going to kick you out the house because you ate one too many donuts. It's like, it's getting that bad sometimes. It's like, just, you're just walking down the street here. And, I'll just be walking down the corner here and there's somebody here, like Instagram photo right now, like in front of a random whatever. And it's like, I have to get the right pose. And if I don't, then I'm not going to get any followers. Like, man, it's brutal. Like, I'm sure you had those clients when you were a personal trainer about unrealistic expectations.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But then, with most of my clients, I was able to get through. But then, of course, it's just, you're not going to be the perfect trainer for every single individual. So, of course, there were times where I passed off clients to other trainers because I was like, okay, what you're asking and your lifestyle, it's not going to work. So, so it's like, if what I'm saying is not going to get through to you, someone else is going to have to talk to you.
Yeah.
And if that person can get you to where you want to go, the body type that you want based on your lifestyle and how hard you party every weekend, it's like, man. Okay. So that's why I'm just like, okay, So yeah, I like to believe that I got through a lot of my clients, but of course there were some that had to fire, or some I just had to just let go.
Now, was there that one that was like, I have 3 weeks and you need to get me into this shape, otherwise no bueno? Did you have anybody to that extreme?
I guess I got lucky. No, not to that extreme. But then I guess I was lucky enough to, because for me, I specialized in training athletes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So then pretty much, I trained athletes or athletes who fell off and who wants to get back into fitness. So
that makes sense. They were already into the mindset of, they know what they got to do, and they're much more willing to learn. That's, man, a lot of people, and not just with working out, but a lot of people are looking for the magic pill. Like, if I do this, give me, I'll pay whatever. Tell me the easy way to do this. I ain't got time. I'm traveling. I got to go to work. I got to do this. Tell me the easy thing. Dude, what was it? 20 years ago. Do you remember that fat burning supplement? I think it was Xenadrin or something with the Ma Huang that nobody knew about. Remember that stuff?
Jeez, I think I remember something like that, but I can't remember what the name was.
You want to know how crazy it was? I saw that stuff on TV when I was like 18 years old, and of course, you're 18, you're stupid, you don't know anything, but you watch it on TV and it's like, take this pill and, you too will look like this guy here who's holding the bottle with 3% body fat. So, man, I was an idiot. I actually bought that stuff. I'm like, okay, I'll take it and do a couple of crunches. I'll be good, right? Yeah, it didn't work out that way. Dude, one time I had a really bad reaction. Like I was just sitting there like convulsing in my stomach because
Oh
I think I
man.
took too many of that stuff because I'm like, well, just more is the better, right? This is gonna burn everything off. Like life's good. And yeah, I learned the hard way that all that stuff that doesn't mean it, you know. And I just couldn't see how when they advertise that, how the little things that they do to manipulate you or marketing does to manipulate you by putting the perfect model on the camera holding the bottle. You just associate that with that. If I take that, I'll look like that. And then not even think about, you know what that guy probably did to get that way? It wasn't that bottle. I mean, but not even, that was like the working out part like that. But even now, it's like I see so many young people or people in general just trying to find the easy way out of everything. And I mean, we're in our mid to late 30s, both of us. So we kind of know that at our age, the world that we see now is different than how we looked at it when we were 20, 21 years old. I mean, we know now that there is no one solution to do everything. Like I can't go and tell somebody if you do A, B, and C, you're going to get that result guaranteed. You know?
Yeah, life's not that easy.
But so many people think it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, when you just, how often do you go on Instagram? Do you ever go on Instagram?
Well, I think I go on it, once a day. I like to go on there to, check on friends, check on family.
See, like that, like checking
Yeah.
on people that we know, like whose birthday it was and what they did today, like that's kind of what it was meant for.
Yeah.
This whole thing has evolved into something else where now I'm like a 15-year-old person. I'm comparing myself to somebody who's 20 in a different country. Who knows what they're doing over there. But yeah, for some reason, I think that I have to do that in order to be happy.
Yeah.
And the scary thing is there's so many people out there who capitalize on that. Like, oh, okay, you want to be told that answer. So if I can sell you something that makes you think you're going to get that answer, then I'm going to get money out of you. And if you don't do it, that's your fault. I gave you the stuff. So many people are just so dependent on the easy answer. And one thing that I want it continues on, hopefully I can get it to continue on for a long time, is just to show people that there is no one answer to everything.
No.
There is, people that I talk to, like you, like real people who go through everything every day and see the world without, the filters of social media, that you have to figure out your own way to get through life.
Yeah, me and you, we're living proof.
It's, yeah, I mean, definitely I've been through a lot, you've been through a lot. And it's like to be able to see this is how we would be at when we were 19 or 20, would have never figured that. If you'd have told me at 18 years old that I would have all this, but it would take me 20 years, I probably would have said, forget that. That's too long, man. I want right now. I want to know right. He's got it right now. My buddy's got it. How come I can't get that life? How come I can't get that nice car because his daddy bought it for him or something?
Exactly.
But I really hope that the message that gets out to everybody with all the guests that I have on the show is that we can tell you how what's worked for us, it may not work for you. What we experience, what we see, how we get through life every day is, relevant to us and our struggle and what we learned, and take what we actually did and do what you need to do with it. Take a little bit here. Don't listen to us, whatever it is, but understand that you got to find your own way in life. And, it may not be the way your friends do it, no matter how easy they make it seem. And no matter now, we got to worry about what social media says and what somebody in a country 4,000 miles away did. It's, it's definitely something that always kind of gets me. It was kind of the reason why I started my original podcast in the beginning, until I realized that a lot of kids that age, like me when I was that age, we don't really listen. That's me anyway. How about you when you were 20? If someone came to you and told you, if you did this for 10 years, you'll be good, you probably would have been like,
yeah, whatever.
What about right now?
Yeah.
It's like, this is my youth. I'm supposed to go out and have fun and supposed to go travel and party and meet people and do all this stuff because that's what they do in the movies.
Exactly.
Jeez, I remember like watching movies like American Pie or like Not Another Teen Movie and thinking that was the way that, that's supposed to be in college, right? That's what they do, so I must be right. And like, yeah, that doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But it's just, it's a crazy world out there. So to be able to see what you've gone through and how you've gone through some of these challenges, like there's no book for that. There is no, hey, you know.
Oh yeah, there's definitely no manual for life. You know, it's just like it's just like life happens, and yeah, you just gotta roll with the punches, and easier said than done. But at the same time, like I said earlier, I'm living proof. You know, it's you just gotta stay positive. You know, stay positive. Hang out with the right people. You know, hang out with the right friends. You know, hang out with family. Hang out with people who lifts you up. You know, people who support you, who love you, who care. Who cares about you.
Mm-hmm. And
know?
It's funny that you mentioned that. Like going back to our teenage years, we both knew people that let's just say that they didn't take the right path in life. Who knows where they're at now? If they're in jail, if they're whatnot. We've both known our fair share of that. It's like, how did you find ways to avoid not falling into the element where it's like, I could go down this path here? What kind of kept you grounded?
I would say my wife. I would have to say my wife. I met her at 18, 19. Pretty much, she saved my life. It's I was going down the wrong path. I was hanging around with the wrong friends. Wrong neighborhood. Name it, and things weren't going right. And so then I was trying to steer clear from these group of people. And don't get me wrong, I still have a group of childhood friends that I hung out today. I mean, geez, I hung out with them 2 weeks ago. But there are people out there that I knew who I knew wasn't good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what they've done, what I've seen them do, and what they currently do. So I'm just like, I didn't want to get, dragged into that. So then, pretty much, 1, I stepped away. 2, I met my wife, and then that was when she whipped me into shape, kind of thing. Because what's crazy was that, both of our families, they came from Cambodia, and pretty much came from Cambodia as refugees with pretty much only the clothes on their backs. And how we were raised were very different. Like her parents, they chose their kids first, but my parents chose us last.
That's...
And then let's just say my wife and I, we met, she's the quiet one, I was the loud one. She was the innocent one, I was the little punk on the street. And then it's like she pretty much whipped me into shape. She forced me. Well, she kept pushing me to go to college. And then for the longest time, I was like, no, college is not for me. I tried that, and I guess what really pushed me to go to college was when her parents said that she should go find someone else who has money.
Oof. They literally said that?
Yeah, they said that. And I overheard it over the phone. And I guess so that right there pushed me to go to college. I earned my bachelor's degree. And then that was when her parents finally took me seriously.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's, good news is you went to college. May not have been the motivation we all would have hoped to have to say, oh, that's what it takes. It's like,
yeah.
But the fact that you saw something special in her at that age, that's first of all rare even now. I mean, it was something that was more traditional in the 60s and before that. Now it's because we changed so much in our 20s.
Oh, yeah.
What we think we want when we're 18, it's like by the time we're 23, something totally different.
Oh, yeah.
And to be able to have that rock in your life that keeps you grounded, that's a special thing. And it's way too often people take relationships like that for granted, and sometimes we lose the ones that we care about the most because we get, especially guys, we get too caught up in our egos.
Oh yeah.
I'm right, and that's the way it's gonna be. If you don't like it, you can leave. Oh, you left. Oh, now what I do? It's it's something that we need more of. We definitely need more of that strong grounding with people because, I mean, like I said, social media doesn't help that at all. It's like, oh, if you're not happy, you can just get that Instagram model right there. Like, is it really going to make you happy? When you're 20, you probably think it does. What else? You only got one thing on your mind as a guy who's that young. So of course you think, okay, I'll just do that because that's what everybody else does, right? And like, it don't work that way, man.
No, it doesn't.
It don't work that way. And as she can probably attest to, and the same thing with me as well. You really can't do it alone.
Nope, absolutely not.
It's I had that problem thinking that I could do it alone for so long, and it's like I could put on a show, but really behind closed doors, it's like, what am I really doing? Like, what's my motivation? Who am I? Who's motivating me to get better? That's the thing that I still go through now is, how do I continue to work to be better? Because if I just get stagnant and say, I got a good paying job, I got a house, whatever it is, life's good, I can just put my hands behind my head, kick back, and don't do anything. The second that happens, now I'm losing ground because now it's, what are you going to do to improve yourself?
Exactly.
What do I have to do? I see so many people fall into that trap. It's like you really have to find ways to push yourself to be better. And for some people, maybe that means you move on from the relationship that you're in because you're growing apart. That takes a lot of sacrifice to actually be able to figure that out. But, growing and make yourself better. And I guess the one thing I would say from when I was 18, 19 years old is I thought I had a time limit. Like, I'm supposed to do all this by 25. I'm supposed to have a degree, married, kids, house by the time I'm 25 because that's kind of what my parents' generation did. Thankfully, my parents didn't like kind of push that on me, like, you're getting older and where's my grandkids? They didn't do that to me. So I was able to have the freedom, but I knew so many people that they just got caught up in that. Like, mom and dad said this, the aunts are always bugging me for this, and I guess I just got to do it because that's what everybody says. And then they later find out, it didn't work out the way that I really wanted to. So to be able to have someone in your corner growing with you, and you both making each other better, that's really key. And it lays the foundation because now you both know what it takes, the sacrifices you need to make to raise a child.
Exactly.
Remember, you told me once, and we kind of laughed about it, but it does take a village to raise a child.
It sure does.
Like, just to be able to say that you're both on the same schedule, you both have the same mindsets, you're both going to get irritated at times because that's just human nature, but you come together because you know what the bigger goal is here.
Exactly.
Is to bring this child into the world, raise him well, and potentially have a sibling coming up soon. We'll see how that one goes.
Hey,
Good luck with that one. Yeah, keep the fingers crossed.
Thank you. Fingers crossed.
It's definitely a lot to absorb, and it's really something that I hope that people who listen to this and going forward realize that we're not telling anybody do this and you'll be happy. It's, you got to find your own way. You're going to struggle. We all do. But take what people have done as a lesson. Take a little bit out of that.
Yeah. Know
that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Even if you're 21 and you're like, that's just so far away, and I'm never going to get there. It's you'll get there eventually.
Oh yeah. It's
just going to take long. I mean, look, we're in our mid 30s. It took us this long to get here. Time flies, but when you're 20, that's too far away. Man. This has been a really fun conversation, man.
It sure has.
Yeah. I really appreciate you doing this, and thank you so much for being able to talk a lot about stuff that I never even knew. Like that still trips me out. The wedding story, none of us who were there knew that. You would never say anything, but it's like, again, underneath the radar, like how certain things happen in a funny way to make sure that you get to enjoy that day. Like, that's just crazy. That is, I don't know what to really say about that. I mean, can't really say if it's like if you believe in God or whatever, but somebody's looking out for you. Somebody wanted to make sure you were there to enjoy the day fully.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. I definitely do believe in, somebody out there is looking out for me, and even till this very day, like, I'm still alive right now. Even after everything that's been going on, I'm still alive, and somebody up there is looking out for me.
It's crazy, man. And I guess you have a better appreciation for life now, right?
Oh, for sure. I definitely don't take things for granted. I'm just happy to be here, for my loved ones, my friends, especially, my wife, my son. I guess, I would have to say I've never been so scared in my life. It was just one thing is if I was single, if it was my time to go, it's my time to go. I know my siblings, my mom, they're going to be okay without me. But now, okay, I've been diagnosed with a brain tumor. I'm going to have to go under the knife. They're going to put me under. There's a chance I might not wake up from anesthesia. They're saying it's an 8-9 hour surgery, and they said there's a 1% chance of death. But, you hear so many horror stories of you being put under, and people's body react to it differently. So that was just like my main concern was like, I'm pretty sure the surgery is going to go well. But what if I don't wake up? I'm going to leave my wife without a husband. And at the time, geez, he wasn't even one yet. Leaving my infant, without a father.
Yeah, obviously I'm not in your mind, but if there was anything that I could say that was really at the forefront, that would have been it right there, is that you're more like, my son is 1 year old. Forget me and forget whatever scars or whatever I have. Like, it's him that I'm worried about, and that I need to get through this for him.
Exactly.
To be there for him growing up. Like, that's so crazy. Like, so if there's anybody out there that is going through a similar thing in regards to the brain tumor, and they're probably like, what do I do? Well, this is what if this happens? What if that happens? What would you tell them to reassure them that obviously everybody's case is different. Mm-hmm. We're not medical doctors here. You're pretty close though. But we can't tell you exactly what to expect, but what would be the mindset you would give somebody about what they're about to go through?
Just anyone with any condition with like cancer or tumors, it's I would say stay positive. It's like, it's crazy how you just being positive can change things. And that it's just, of course it's not easy, but it's just like, surround yourself with people. Surround yourself with people who love you, who would lift you up, and of course, stay busy.
That's a good one there.
Yeah, stay busy. And of course, don't give up, eat healthy, drink healthy, exercise, because for me, my doctors didn't tell me to eat healthy or drink healthy, exercise. They just said just prep for surgery. But my thing was, it's just I wanted to prepare my body physically and mentally for the surgery, because anything can happen. So that's what I did.
That's really good advice. As best as you can give to somebody who doesn't know what to expect and is thinking the worst, it's like, think positive, have patience. Can't control your nerves because you're going to have them, but have faith in the doctors that you have. They're professionals, and with the right mindset, you're giving yourself the best chance that you can to get through it.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, and last but not least, just don't listen to one doctor or two doctors. Get a third opinion, get a fourth opinion. It doesn't matter where you get it, whether it's Kaiser, UCSF, Stanford. It's just the biggest thing is get that second opinion. At least get that second opinion. That's all I gotta say.
Great. Well, I appreciate the advice, man. Again, thank you so much, and we'll end this one there. But I want to have you back on sometime in the future
Right on.
We'll see, impart more of your wisdom on the rest of the audience as well, because I know you're going to think about some other stuff that we can talk about the next time. All right. This has been fun, man.
Hey, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.